Hi there, welcome to another video on the solid foundation. The last time we were in our discussion, we talked about the image of the beast and how that is something that is worth taking a look at in terms of understanding what is happening in these last days. And we spent some time in the book of Revelation. We looked at chapter 13 and we went down through some key points that hopefully made sense to you, and understand that these discussions is intended to spark your curiosity, to open up your eyes to things probably you didn't thought of before, and to motivate you to go into a deeper dive into any chapter, any discussion. Because the last thing that I would wish for any one of us is that we die ignorant, or we die because we choose not to take the time to investigate what God has already placed plain before us. And so in the book of Revelation, chapter 13, I mentioned that signs are important, and let no one tell you that a sign is not of any importance. And we focus on two signs in the book of Revelation, chapter 13. We mentioned that, for example, wherever you read about a beast, then that beast represent kingdoms as explained by the Bible itself. And we later on heard about the dragon, and the Bible itself. The Bible is known to explain itself and give that information, so we don't have to go searching or looking or wondering or making up our own conclusions. Now, the dragon was told, we were clearly told in the book of Revelation, represents that serpent, the devil, or Satan. All right. And so we know that for sure. Now, we heard a few things right there in Revelation 13, and I said, don't let's talk about that for now, where we heard about this leopard like in verse 2. And the beast which I saw was unto a leopard, and his feet. And I said, we will talk about that at another time. And horns. Horns represents your power. Beast is a kingdom, right? And your horns. So note, most of these beasts had horns on them, and that represents their power, the people, the rulership, the power as such. And sometimes you will hear about, it plucked up one horn. So it's changing leadership, changing power, who was in control. All right. If it's just a beast, then it's just a kingdom as such. So today, I want to let us go forward, a small step forward, looking at the current event and shaping things up as they appear unto us. And so as we talk about this image of the beast, which is important in Revelation 13, this leopard-like beast is Rome, this as we know it, okay? And the lamb-like beast represents the United States of America. So note, this leopard-like beast came up among the sea, and whenever you hear sea and things like that, that's another sign or a symbol that we have to understand. It represents a populated place or people. All right, and that's also given to us in Bible. All right, the verse talks about, and the water which thou sawest, all right, represents peoples and nations and tongues. So dealing with a populated place. But we also see here in Revelation 13, verse 11 says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. So note, two horns, power, two horns like a lamb, but he spake as a dragon. And the only nation, looking at the timeline of prophecy, the only nation that came out of the earth, a kind of abandoned place during this time. And I will not get into all the timelines, as I said, because that will take me way deeper than I want to. And I'm trying to keep these videos pretty short for us. represent the United States of America. Remember, America was the one that left Europe, left that side of the world, and came over to this shore to start afresh. America was the one that was fleeing religious persecution and came over here and started life and so on. We don't have to go through all the atrocities that America itself did in order to set up this great nation that we have. But America started with the premise of being a Christian nation, and that's something that they still hold on to, the fact that we are a Christian nation as such. And so we're talking about the two horns, all right, the power. But while America may start off like a lamb with the Christian nature, he speaks like a dragon. We're talking about the power and dragons. He's speaking like the devil as such. So the setting up of the image comes when this second beast, understand that. The setting of the image comes when the second beast that we know that came from the earth, all right, the second beast, or the United States of America, will make an image to the first beast, which is Rome or the papacy, after this 42 months, or we said 1,260 years. Now in Bible time, we have a day per year prophecy, day per year when we come to prophetic messages, where one day represents a year. So 42 months in the Bible counting. The calendar is basically a 30-day for every month, unlike for us where we have some months would be 30 days, some months like February 28, but the Bible, every month is strictly 30 days. And so if you do 42 times 30, we have 1,260 days. And when it comes to prophetic messages, there's a year for a day. Now, if you look through what the Roman Catholic Church, the church did from the Dark Ages, which started like around 538 BC, as I said in the last video, all the way to the 1700s. We're talking clearly, we can see the alignment of the 1,260 years of atrocities and persecution that this nation, this beast, this nation did to God's people, as we read in the word there. It make wars with the saints and so on. You just look at how, as I mentioned in the sanctuary, all these men who God was using to bring back his word, how they suffered for their faith. So this second beast is going to reinstate, to give credence once again to this first beast, this persecuting nation. Now, Protestant, I should say apostate Protestant, because all of these new religion or denomination that came out of the Reformation, which means that they should be reformed. They are stepping away from what the Roman Catholic Church did. But many of them, as the call comes out right now for the ecumenical movement to come back home and so on, many of them, to some extent, still hold fast to the beliefs or the teachings of the Roman Catholic Church. So when the apostate Reformation will link arm with Rome and coerce a U.S. government to enact a national law, like a national blue law, a national Sunday law, when this happens, the image will be set up. This image will be set up. So in every part of America, there is something called blue laws. And almost in every state, you have blue laws on the books. But I will leave that for another discussion. When, as I said, apostate Protestantism coerce the government, we're talking about the two arms, the two horns, the two arms of power, all right, that exist, all right, church and state power. When the church, the apostate Protestantism churches, they coerce government to enact a national law, a national religious law, that's when the image will be set up. This image is to pay kind of homage to this leopard-like beast, which means we're talking about the papacy. Now, Why am I bringing this up here? Because on June 29th, a first step was made towards this image, or started the movement for that. Now, for those of you who don't remember what happened on June 29th, remember June 29th, the president at the time, President Donald J. Trump, left the White House under the guise of coming across Lafayette Park to take a photo up in front of St. John's Church. And he held up the Bible, and the Bible was held up not even in the right order. But at the same time, there was a whole lot of protesting going on, and force was used. So here you had the government, represented by Donald J. Trump, using force on the people to go and technically represent a church that they claim was looted or under attack the night before. And so understand that President Trump not only represents the government, but President Trump at the time, the then President Trump at the time, he's also the leader of the Republican Party. And we know that the Republican Party is heavily supported by the Protestants. And so he used force to enforce something that he thought he was doing for his religious supporters. So this act, however, received, as we know, a strong rebuke by the Reverend Miriam Buddy, all right? And she was the bishop of the Episcopal Diocese of Washington. Now that is significant. Why it is significant? Because here you had President Trump using force to go and, so to speak, come to the help or to defend his religious friends, but the leader of the religious of the church is rebuking him. It is significant because it tells me that June 29th was not the time. June 29th is not the time for this image to be set up as yet. Remember what happened with Mary. Remember what happened with Jesus at the wedding at Cana. The host ran out of wine, and Mary come to Jesus and say, "Hey, Jesus, take care of it." And Jesus said, "Why are you getting me involved? It's not my time yet." But you see, she knew from what the angel spoke to her and all that her son was the Messiah and he has power to do certain things. And so she's like, "Hey, step in, do your thing." He's like, "No, it's not my time yet." We know that he eventually still turned the water into wine. So it tells us what's going on behind the scene. That behind the scene, church and state must come together, as in the two horns, right? Military force, Christian coercion will come together. And when that happens, it will come with these, with the intent of providing support. It will come with the intent of paying homage to the first beast, or Rome. But June 29th was not the time. June 29th was not the time, but it gives us an insight as to what to come. My friends, the truth is that anger and fear unites people. Anger and fear unites people. And right now we see President Biden. He's a devout Catholic. He's in power. And we know that Republicans seem to hate everything about what he's doing or what he stands for. However, the image is formed when religious power, because of apostasy, will try, and not only that will they try, but they will succeed in controlling the government, all right, and coercing the government and controlling the government to enforce a church decree, just as the papacy did centuries earlier. that is when this image is going to be set up. Now, we know that Biden is desperate for a bipartisan victory, and he is looking to really win over his Republican friends. And so far, he seems to be striking out. He struck out with the COVID relief bill. He is looking for infrastructure. We don't know how that's going to go. We know that there's a strong part of his party that really love the environment. And so what will it be? Will it be the environment? Will it be, well, it's no longer the COVID relief bill? Will it be infrastructure? Will it be blue law? Those are some things that we have to look at, because whoever gives in, when we see the government being really moved by their religious arm, or controlled or dictated by religious arm, that is when we know for sure that we have the trigger, and a national law, a national blue law, so to speak, will be implemented based on worship, and the image of the beast will be put in place, and the rest is going to follow. The chips may fall into place, so to speak. I will pause here for now. If you like what I've brought to you, as usual, leave a comment, subscribe, share this with your friends. Looking forward to see you on the next video, where I will expound a little more on this topic. Until then, remember, go digging. A solid foundation is what you need. See you on the next video.